Prostate cancer familial forms represent 16% of all prostate cancers. In 84% of the cases, prostate cancer is sporadic, which means that there is only one case in the same family. In 11% of the cases, two men will have a prostate cancer in the same family. In this situation, it is considered as a familial case, but not hereditary. When 3 men or more are affected by a prostate cancer within the same family, it is an hereditary disease. This situation affects 5% of all cases. Since the 19th century, the role of heredity in cancers has been questioned. Indeed, in 1866, Dr. Broca published his Traité des tumeurs, where, based on the case of his female assistant who died from breast cancer, he already mentioned the early onset of breast cancers in certain families. A century later, Morganti published the first study on familial prostate cancer with an odds ratio reaching 11 when certain criteria were combined. However, it was not before Carter's scientific analysis, based on age of onset and number of cases in the same family, that a rigorous approach of the role of heredity in prostate cancer was firmly established. In the Carter transmission model, when 3 first-degree relatives, whatever the age of diagnosis, or 2 first-degree relatives with an age of onset before 55, prostate cancer was labeled as hereditary. In Europe, Professor Cusno proposed his own model, which added to the Carter transmission model the cases of an hereditary prostate cancer transmitted by the chromosome X, and also a larger definition regarding the onset of the disease before 55. The heredity of prostate cancer relies on DNA mutations. Since 1996 and the first description of HPC1 mutated gene on the long arm of chromosome 1, many other genes, or loci, which is a particular location on the chromosome, have been published. In prostate cancer, chromosome 1 and 8 are of particular interest. On this illustration, 2 proteins are detailed. ALAK2 produced by the traduction of the RNA of the gene of the same name on chromosome 17, and RNase L, which is the traduction of the candidate gene of the locus AP24. Each of these genes presents different mutations with an impact on their function that consequently will favor the onset of prostate cancer. Additionally, the famous gene BRCA2, well known to predispose to breast cancer, is also involved in families with breast and prostate cancers. For a long time, BRCA2 has been described in hereditary breast and ovarian cancers. When mutated, the risk of breast cancer is increased of 60%. A man with a mutated BRCA2 gene presents a risk of breast cancer multiplied by 150-fold. A mutated BRCA2 gene is present in 3% of patients with an early onset of prostate cancer before 50 years old, and increases the risk of early prostate cancer by 23-fold. When a BRCA2 mutation is found in a family, genetic counseling and BRCA2 mutation screening are strongly recommended to all first and even second-degree members. Besides BRCA2, other genes bear a risk of associated cancers. For instance, CAPPB on the short arm of chromosome 1 is suspected to predispose in same families to prostate cancer in men and brain cancer in women. different scientific publications have confirmed the impact of heredity on an early onset of prostate cancer. However, this genetic background does not change the feature of the disease. Indeed, when hereditary, prostate cancer is not more aggressive nor bears a worse prognosis. Another way genetics can impact on prostate cancer is called susceptibility, which is based on genetic variants when one base, ATCG, differs in a DNA sequence. The result is a difference in the coded protein with, for instance, a slower or faster enzymatic action, or a receptor with more or less affinity. On the long term, the difference of cellular function will favor the onset or potentially the progression of an already existing cancer. Most of cancers are not hereditary but rather due to the combination of two factors, the genetic susceptibility and an unfavorable environment. These two factors explain largely the difference of incidence in prostate cancer between the different populations in the world. With 5 to 25 for 100,000 men affected by the disease, Eastern Asians are quite protected from prostate cancer, while Afro-Caribbean pay the highest tribute with incidences exceeding 200 cases for 100,000 men. Eventually, on this map, it is quite easy to perceive the difference on incidence in the different populations and regions of the world, which are not only due to genetic background between populations, but also to different lifestyles. For instance, Japanese living in Japan have less prostate cancer than Japanese-born men who migrated to Hawaii with a US lifestyle for decades. In conclusion, amongst other risk factors, the genetic background plays a role in the onset of prostate cancer. Cancer is definitely a cellular disorder and has to be fighting as such. Only a deeper knowledge in molecular biology and genetics may allow a complete eradication of cancer.